There's a moment in the battle when you're not spamming your flood, cape, or frontal aerial, you're not doing Mario correctly. If there's any point in the battle when you're not grabbing your opponent and casting them into oblivion, you're doing Luigi wrong. If there's a moment in the battle when you're not using Peach's booty bump technique, or her holding up the Toad for defense, you're doing Peach wrong. If there's a point in the battle where you're not pulling off Bowser's kamikaze technique, you're doing Bowser wrong. If there's a point in the battle when you're not doing this as much as possible, you're doing Yoshi wrong. If there's a point in the battle when you're not throwing away your space children like cosmic footballs, you're doing it wrong. If there's a point when you're not screwing over your opponent with how much weapons and mass destruction you can use, you're doing Bowser Jr. wrong. If there's a point when you're not snacking on your opponents, or farting on them, pretty much, you're doing Wario wrong. If there's a point in the battle when you're not showing off your cooking skills, or using your tiny little space turtle, you're doing Game & Watch wrong. If there's a point when you're not spamming a Meteor Smash or this taunt as much as physically possible, you're doing Donkey Kong wrong. If there's a moment when you're not spamming your banana pills to literally just mess with your opponent constantly, you're doing Diddy Kong wrong. I mean, literally, if you're playing Link and there's not a moment when you're not spamming any sort of projectile, you're doing Link wrong. Same goes for his bitch-ass counterpart. If there's a moment when you're not summoning your, butlers of Phantom, you're doing Zelda wrong. I mean, literally, if there's a point when you're not kicking ass at Sheik, you're already doing her wrong. If there's a point when you don't seem to be making up for your lack of speed with sheer power by sending your opponents into oblivion, you're doing Ganondorf wrong. If there's a point when you're not charging up your charge shot, you're doing it wrong. If there's a point when you're not going for her down throw to 2 up airs and then an up B, then you're doing it wrong. If there's a point when you're not spamming his 3 jab, especially when it gets continuous, you're doing Pit wrong. Same goes for Emo Pit. If there is a point when you're not neutral B'ing or dash attacking, then you're doing Palutena wrong. If there's a point when you're not mega shanking the crap out of your opponent, you're doing Marth wrong. And if there's a point when you're playing Lucina, then you're already doing Smash completely wrong, and I want nothing more to do with you.